Good day, everybody. This is the Hermit Modeler, and we are now into episode number 13 in our Junkyard diorama build. And in this episode, a lot has happened. Much has been accomplished. We have the building set in place. We have the driveway constructed. We have the junkyard and seen in another episode. It's done. We have a drive leading to the rest of the junkyard in place. And we have some cars set in here. These will not, some of these will be permanent, some won't. And even those that are permanent may be moved around a little bit. Now you notice that the scenery is rather sparse. And that's just because this is base scenery to get us established as to where things will be and direction for which we will be going. Some of the cars we used here are 55 Chevrolet. This would have been like a 1960s school kid's car with the things that we did to them back then. Very strange things we did to some of those cars, but we thought they were cool. And number one thing was we got rid of the bumper and grill. Boy, that was safe, wasn't it? Yes. And in this case, this had a lot more use with the front fender and hood having to be added to it. Things like this, it doesn't take a whole lot of detailing to establish an identity for the car, but everything you do adds that much. In this case, primer that has been weathered itself. Life, don't forget about life on the junkyard. Now, like I said, this is going to be changed around yet, but one of the big things is always remember the junkyard dog, that mean, vicious monster that, well, I'm not sure that little guy there would be, quite what you would expect. And, the photographer taking the picture of the man and his junkyard dog. We have in place set just a little ramp here that's temporary, that's going to show that there will be a ramp going up to that door, and then there'll be steps going up behind the dog there too. Time passage. Here we see the new wrecker replacing the old wrecker, which has now just been set beside the building. And this, I cannot take credit for this weathering on this little, I love this little car. I was gonna put a lot of weathering on it. I started with the roof, but this is the way that I got this car. And obviously somebody had done paint stripping or something, and it just looked so perfect. I just decided to leave the rest of the body alone. The top on it was pure white. That's why I went ahead and did it, and then I did the chassis. The 60 Ford, you remember that from another diorama? That diorama was not all that great. It was just something I tossed together. But I brought that in here. It will now be sunk down into the ground and established as this is one of the oldest cars, been around here for a long time. We naturally have the tree. Trees are an aspect of the junkyard that most junkyard owners really don't appreciate them a whole lot because of what they can do to their merchandise. We have a couple vehicles here that you see there's not a whole lot to them. They're excellent this is the way that I got them. That's all there is to them. And they will be weathered in as to being sunk down in the ground and such. Probably a lot of the body cut off that 58 Plymouth there so that it sits way down and it's just filled with weeds. And we have a couple more. Always remember when you're doing weathering on a Corvette, please don't do a bunch of rust on the body. They were fiberglass. They really didn't rust on the body. That is kind of a dead giveaway. Once again, we have some more cars here. We have life again. We have a couple ladies working on getting parts for their restoration project off of this old beater here. Notice that now in the video, it's really hard to, unless, I take a whole bunch of time to edit out those plates that they're standing on, but they help them to stand. In just pictures, I can hit Photoshop and take care of that. In the back over here, we have a card that has been highly disassembled. I think, yes, a Nova. And like I said, once again, we have just slight weathering. This will all be heavily weathered as we go along. Be a lot of weeds and bushes. More trees will go in here. There'll be a line of cars coming along that 55 Chevy. There'll be a whole line of cars there. And now right behind the building, in this area here, this building was a freight depot. I'm establishing it as an old railroad freight depot, and there would have been a dock and a little railroad track back there, just the roadbed at this point now. And I'll be weathering that in too as I go along. And I say weathering because it is going to just be pieces of the dock left and just little bits showing here and there of where there would have been track at one time. And that is primarily what we have accomplished to this point. This is the other side of the building. And nice thing about this, I've got it set in the middle of the room so that I can give you a 360-degree view of this building and of the junkyard. And I think I can't really think of a whole lot else to point out at this given time. Those cars that I showed you back there, they will be weathered heavily. Everything here will be weathered. And you'll probably see things in different places as time passes here. I thank you for joining me on this episode number Lucky 13 or Unlucky 13 or just 13, however you want to say it. This is the Hermit Modeler signing off. Remember to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and ring that bell. And please be sure and tell your friends. Once again, thank you for stopping by. Hermit Modeler. Bye now.